Alright, back to this is part 3. Now really, I'm not a preacher. I don't claim to be one. Sometimes, however, things just need to be said, I guess. But, return to this natural. Paul said these people's end is destruction. Their God is their belly, their temptations, their desires, whose glory is in their shame, who set their minds on earthly things. Now, I was reading Robertson, and I don't think he thought that earthly and flesh and natural, I have to go back and reread, was synonyms, but I think for Paul, maybe it was. It's the natural things that when you look at the nature, when you look at yourself, and you say, I want this, you don't look above, like Augustine said, to see if it fits in there with God. And we understand there's two ways, again. There's a wise way and there's an unwise way. There's a spiritual way, there's a natural way. Now, we can give into our natural ways, and I believe that humanity as a whole, a lot of times, does give into their natural inclinations. And there are more than a few people, however, that are trying to change that naturally, so to speak. We see racism. By far, it's not over, but it's becoming more repressed, and that's a good thing. If only they can make it go away. But natural versus spiritual, natural versus what is in God's way. Now, when I said earlier that it's sin if it misses the mark of God's order. Homosexuality, gay marriage, misses God's order. In the fact that the marriage covenant was never broken. God gave it to Adam and his wife, which is life, long before the covenant of religion was established. Long before sacrifices were made, he drew two people together. And never once did he break that covenant. Never once did the apostles talk about that covenant being fulfilled, or there's no more need for that. Never once did those apostles feel the need to say, it's okay now to be natural as you want. It's natural for us to give into temptation. It's natural for us to take what we want. We see that all the time. It's a fact. It's a natural fact. But it's something else to give, and it's something else to leave our senses behind and stop, give it into our senses. It's something else to fight, as Paul said, the good fight. Paul wasn't just speaking about preaching the gospel, but he was talking about his own self. A lot of times he said he warred within the flesh, and he had to crucify his flesh daily. Paul was not a perfect man, and he fought himself daily. He fought his natural desires. Now, with all that said, homosexuality is a sin, but it's an individual sin, and there's nothing I can say or do to inhibit somebody from individually sinning. If you would know me, most people will know that I believe in a strict moral code, a strict holiness code. I wear long sleeves all the time. I'm not saying that's for everybody. I'm not even saying that's a sin if you wear short sleeves. But I cannot judge others by my morality, my holiness. If they were inside the church, it'd be a little bit different. And even then, I wouldn't use the word judge. But I want to finish with James. Who is wise and understanding among you? Let him show good conduct, that his works are done in the meekness of wisdom. Skipping down to 3:15. This wisdom is talking about envying and self-seeking in your hearts, about boasting and lying against the truth. This wisdom does not descend from above, but is earthly, sensual, and demonic. I don't like to use that word too much, but there are envy and self-seeking exist, confusion and every evil thing there will be. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, willing to yield, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality, without hypocrisy. Quite simply, James is saying where that natural sin is, that natural person, that earthly, that sensual person who gives into his or her senses. Only confusion and every evil thing. And we have seen that from time memorial. It's time eternal, from the very beginning of time when humanity gives into itself. Nothing but evil and confusion. And if we do not do good, it becomes a sin, and we see the world itself as something very sinful, very beautiful, very gracious, still bearing the mark of its creator. But humanity as a whole is very natural and very central, and we see that. We see that with the destruction of this or destruction of that, with the extinction of this or extinction of that. And although this may not be a complete summation of my argument, I believe that this helps to summarize a lot of it in the fact that what's natural is not always good, and what's good is always spiritual. So Roy, I'll see you on the flip side.